Welcome back to today's Explainer. We're jumping right in today because we've got something really special. Whether you are a mom, have a mom, or you're just looking to build a rock-solid family legacy, we are unpacking a really beautiful, deeply structured Mother's Day message from May 10th, 2026. We're going to explore the profound spiritual legacy of motherhood. It's fascinating how this source material takes the absolute whirlwind job of being a mom and breaks it down into this incredible life questionnaire based on ancient biblical texts. Let's get into it.
All right, let's start by anchoring ourselves in some genuine, warm appreciation for mothers. Take a look at this lovely child's drawing celebrating Mother's Day. Our source material actually grounds this whole celebration in a specific biblical command from Exodus 20:12. It instructs us to honor our parents so that our days may be long. And you know, this isn't just some polite suggestion in the text, it's framed as this exciting promise and a central pillar for faith and family legacy.
So we're structuring this explainer around a really powerful spiritual health check found in 2 Kings 4:26, stepping through three distinct questions posed to the Shunammite woman. Here's our roadmap. 1. A sacred Mother's Day. 2. Is your child okay? 3. Is your husband okay? 4. Are you okay? And finally, 5. Only one mother.
Kicking things off with Section 1, A Sacred Mother's Day, the foundation of family. Let's set the stage for what this sacred calling of motherhood actually means in a spiritual context. Now, parenting can absolutely feel as chaotic and overwhelming as this illustration suggests. You're juggling a baby, dragging a toddler, constantly losing your keys. It's a lot. But the source points out something absolutely crucial. While those physical tasks are very real and, let's be honest, deeply exhausting, they're actually secondary. A mother's true core mission goes way beyond just surviving those daily chores. It's about deeply impacting the family's spiritual foundation.
Which brings us to the very first and probably the most instinctual question on our life questionnaire from that ancient text. Is your child okay? For pretty much any mother out there, her heart is tied to this exact question before anything else.
Moving right along to Section 2, Is your child okay? The three tests. To effectively answer whether a child is really okay, the source provides us with a brilliant framework. It lays out three specific spiritual tests to measure a child's true growth: the protection test, the presentation test, and the provision test. The big takeaway here is that we have to evaluate a child's spiritual well-being by looking at how a mother handles protection, presentation, and provision. So let's break down what these actually look like in practice. Starting with the protection test. Look at this incredibly powerful image of a mother hen safely gathering her small chicks right under her wings. Rooted in Isaiah 49:15, which talks about how a mother literally cannot forget her nursing child. This is all about a mother protecting her child's soul. But the text makes a really fascinating distinction here. True spiritual protection sometimes means establishing spiritual discernment by actually protecting them from being overprotected. It's about letting them build some muscle and grow in strength, rather than just keeping them perfectly shielded and weak in the name of safety. And we see this so beautifully in our biblical examples. On the left, notice Moses' mother daring to protect her son by literally making him different. She hides him and sets him apart in a really dangerous world to protect his soul and his future. And then contrast that on the right with Samuel's mother. She takes these active, intentional steps by bringing him a new little robe every single year, prepping to pass the provision test. Both of these mothers are taking incredibly decisive steps to safeguard and equip their kids for a much higher purpose. This naturally leads us right into the presentation test, which honestly asks a really challenging question of surrender. It looks at Hannah, who completely dedicated her deeply longed-for son Samuel to the Lord. The text challenges modern mothers with this direct comparison. What are you preparing your child to be known for? Are you raising them simply to be famous for worldly achievements, or are you raising them to live in God's presence? Think about that for a second. This test is completely about whether a mother can surrender the ultimate control of her child's life to a higher calling.
Rounding out the child's evaluation is the provision test, reminding us again of Samuel's mother making him that small robe every year. The source makes this beautiful connection to the famous Chinese poem, Song of the Wanderer, which describes a mother carefully sewing clothes for her traveling son. It teaches us that a mother's provision is like this unbroken, continuous thread of love and sacrifice. Even when that child is miles away from home, that provision, both physical and spiritual, warmly covers them. So let's keep building on this. We move to the second major question of the Shunammite woman's assessment. Is your husband okay?
Welcome to Section 3, Is Your Husband Okay? Family Unity. This is where the explainer shifts focus from the child to the shared spiritual responsibility of the married couple.
The source really emphasizes that a healthy family thrives when a couple tackles these three tests: protection, presentation, and provision together. But it highlights something super vital. A mother's strong spiritual life acts as the ultimate anchor for the husband. Drawing on teachings from 2 Timothy and the Gospel of Matthew, the material shows how faith just naturally flows through the entire household. When her foundation is rock solid, it creates this incredibly stable environment where the husband and the kids can totally find their footing. And finally, we arrive at what might be the most intimate and honestly the most frequently overlooked question of the entire questionnaire. Mother, are you okay? It's so easy to pour everything into everyone else, but this question demands some quiet, honest self-reflection. Which brings us to Section 4, Are You Okay? The mother's spiritual health. We are transitioning from all those external responsibilities right down to the internal foundation.
Because motherhood isn't just about giving, it's about being deeply grounded yourself. And here is the truly fascinating part of the text. Those exact same 3 tests we just applied to the child, they apply directly to the mother's own soul. For protection, she doesn't have to do it all alone. According to John 17:12, Jesus keeps her safe by his name. For presentation, she's encouraged to find peace by surrendering her own life and anxieties, just like Mary did in Luke 1:38, when she said, I am the Lord's servant. And for provision, while she pours herself out to provide for her kids, the message reminds her that God provides himself to her. It's just a really powerful reminder that she has to be spiritually fed to continue feeding everyone else.
And that leads us to our final part today, Section 5, Only One Mother, a Lasting Legacy. Let's slow down a bit here to reflect on the grace-filled, irreplaceable nature of a mother's love. Notice how this beautifully framed physical quote card perfectly captures the culmination of the source material's entire message. It's a great tangible, visual representation of the immense value we place on this specific role. The quote by Kate Douglas Wiggin reads, Most of all the other beautiful things in life come by 2s and 3s, by dozens and hundreds, but only one mother in the whole world. The text uses this to point out that while our world is completely full of abundant, repeating wonders, plenty of roses, stars, sunsets, brothers and sisters, God has given us only one mother. Her specific love is designed to light the way even in moments of the absolute deepest exhaustion.
The ultimate takeaway from this message is a dual call to action: honor mothers and revere God. It's a massive encouragement to pass this divine, selfless love forward. We're asked to deeply honor the mothers who sacrifice so much for us through their protection, presentation, and provision, and to revere the God who designed the family unit in the very first place.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to turn the lens back onto you. I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought based on the ancient texts we've explored today. Have you paused to honestly evaluate your own spiritual health and the legacy you're leaving behind? Have you taken the time to truly answer your own life questionnaire today? Take a moment, look inward, and consider what you are passing on to the next generation. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep learning.